Viewer discretion advised. Podcasts may include graphic content, violence, substance use, and foul language. I recite the stories in this show as they are written to the word, with the only exception being if grammatical errors need corrected. Thanks for watching. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Scared Shitless Podcast. Today, we have a double feature for you guys. These are two stories. Both stories have unknown authors, and they can be found at the Creepypasta Wiki at creepypasta.fandom.com. So, first story, we will go ahead and get into that. Scared Shitless presents Licking. My great-grandmother lived alone up in the mountains at her cabin. Her husband was dead, so she was there all alone. She only had one companion, and that was her loving dog. They both adored each other, and the dog was a great comfort to her. Every night, when she went to bed, the dog would lick her hand to let her know that he was there to protect her. One night, she had gone to bed, and the dog licked her hand, like he had routinely done every single night since her husband died. But this night was different. She had woken up in the middle of the night because she heard her dog whimpering. She wanted to comfort him and let him know that she was there for him. So she stuck her hand out by the bed, and she felt the dog gently lick her hand like always. She figured he was just cold, so she went back to sleep. The dog's whimpering had woke her up a second time in the night, so she stuck her hand out, the dog licked it, and she went back to sleep. This happened a third time, and then she stuck her hand out, and the dog stopped whimpering and came and licked her hand. She stayed awake for a few moments afterward, and she promptly went back to sleep again. In the morning, she woke up and stuck her hand out by the bed, but nothing licked her hand. She thought that the dog had already awoken and was just in the front room. She rolled over and got out of bed and heard a drip. 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 She thought the sound was coming from the kitchen, so she walked over and turned the handles of the sink faucet, but it wasn't the source of the noise. After frustratingly checking the sink and its pipes, she gave up and continued into her bathroom to take a shower. As she got closer to the bathroom door, it was evident that the sound was coming from within. She opened the door, looked above the bathtub, and gasped in utter horror. There, hanging from the light by his collar, was her loving companion. His blood was dripping into the bathtub. She screamed and began to cry, wiping her eyes and sobbing. She turned and looked into the mirror. In the mirror, she saw the dog's reflection, and written on the mirror in her dog's blood, with drips and streaks hanging down from each letter, were the words, "Humans can lick too." This is a nice little short story, creepypasta, and you can find that on creepypasta.fandom.com. I think this is one of those ones that it's really good in the sense of it's really realistic. Some of the stories that we read and listen to, as you guys know, if you're not someone that really believes in the paranormal that much, it doesn't seem all that believable. But see, what I take from this story is we got some kind of crazy, deranged killer in this woman's house, and that's kind of what this focuses around, because I think we all understand that, like, primal fear of being at home by yourself and someone else being there to get you. So, really interesting, short little story, and I got another one for you guys. So, this next one is called Girl in the Photograph. One day at school, a boy named Tom was sitting in class and doing math. It was 6 more minutes until after school. As he was doing his homework, something caught his eye. His desk was next to the window, and he turned and looked to the grass outside. He saw something. It looked like a picture. When school was over, he ran to the spot where he saw it. He ran fast so that no one else could grab it. He picked it up and smiled. It had a picture of the most beautiful girl he had ever seen. She had a dress with tights and red shoes, and her hand was formed into a peace sign. She was so beautiful he wanted to meet her, So he ran all over the school and asked everyone if they knew her or have ever seen her before. But everyone he asked said no. He was devastated. When he was home, he asked his older sister if she knew the girl, but unfortunately, she also said no. It was very late, so Tom walked up the stairs, placed the picture on his bedside table, and went to sleep. In the middle of the night, Tom was awakened by a tap on his window. It was like nail tapping. He got scared, and after the tapping, he heard a giggle. He saw a shadow near his window, so he got out of his bed, walked towards his window, and opened it up and followed the giggling. By the time he reached it, it was gone. The next day, he again asked his neighbors if they knew her. Everyone said, sorry, no. When his mother came home, he even asked her if she knew her. She said no. He went to his room, placed a picture on his desk, and fell asleep. Once again, he was awakened by a tapping. He took the picture and followed the giggling. He walked across the road when suddenly he got hit by a car. He was dead with the picture in his hand. The driver got out of the car and tried to help him, but it was too late. Suddenly he saw the picture and picked it up. He saw a cute girl holding up 3 fingers. So I got 2 nice, scary short stories there for you. So if you've hung around till the end, and that's why I try to kind of make the episode shorter, if you've hung around till the end, you might notice a couple things. I've got this new mic and mic stand. This is a HyperX Quadcast. Let me know the difference between the audio with the stand, the pop filter that I've got here, and the mic itself. I've got a lot of money tied up in it. But I want to try to make these productions as nice as possible, so you guys are able to enjoy these to the fullest. And I want to be able to build up a community of people that come here, and especially on my YouTube, discuss things. I love to get in contact with people that watch my videos. It's a great pleasure for me. Also, in other news, you can now officially donate to this podcast if you want to. It's completely optional. If you don't want to, you don't have to. If you can't donate, one thing that I do ask is share the video, share the podcast itself. Give me a little bit of exposure and help me broaden my audience, because that's going to help me a lot. But if you are interested in making donations, I will leave the link in the description of the YouTube video and in the show notes of the podcast. Oh, yes. Also, so those who are following episodes 3 and 4, they know about Lake Shawnee. They know about our trip to Lake Shawnee and the things that happened there. So one thing that I do have planned in the future, hopefully it's in the near future, but it's hard to tell, is I want to get the group together, and we're going to get on this podcast, and we're going to try to have a cooperative discussion and try to keep it in storytelling fashion as well as we can, just in the essence of how this podcast is, told, in order to stick with the flow of normal episodes. But we're going to get 3 different point of views, details that I've missed, and the Lone War on TikTok and YouTube, check him out, is one of our members. He brought a lot of really interesting information to me, and my mind's blown. I am really excited to be able to share that, because I think that you guys are going to be really interested in what he has to say. He did a lot of digging to find this information, and I thought it was absolutely bonkers. So, look forward to that in the future. Of course, podcasts will be on a bi-weekly schedule. I have been posting more than usual lately, and the reason for that is because I'm trying to make up episodes that I've missed. On another note, though, I'm hoping that after... So this will come out, should be around the Sunday episode. it might be one of the makeup episodes where I'd missed before. If this is a makeup episode, it should be around that, should be around the Sunday. If it's the Sunday episode, then here's the deal. 2 weeks from today being, let me check. Should I make least amount of noise as possible? So, the 13th. So 2 weeks from the 13th, after that episode, my hope is to be going back to weekly episodes every Sunday. And I'll let you know how that further progresses and what we're going to do, any changes from here on out. I really appreciate everybody being patient, sticking around and waiting. So, also, while I have everybody's attention, there's a couple other things, other business notes that I'd like to pass out there. First of all, right now the podcast is on a donation basis, but I am very interested in making a Patreon maybe, or maybe just changing my, because I use Anchor for podcasting, maybe changing my settings on there to change it from donation to subscription. Let me know if you guys would be interested in subscribing to my podcast and becoming a patron, getting extra content throughout the month. And it's something I haven't entirely came up with yet. I don't know what the exact patron tier levels are going to be and what the rewards will be, but I know definitely some form of bonus content, whatever that might be. As well as that, I'm also looking for new graphic designers. If any of you guys make logos, that kind of thing, as image files on the computer, I'm looking for a logo for my podcast, and I'm looking for a logo for Smoky Paranormal Productions. So if you have anything like that, please get in touch with me if you have any of those skills, and we'll get together and see if we can't strike up a deal. So if you're interested in doing that, the best way to get in touch with me is my podcast email, which, if you're watching YouTube, it's right here on the screen. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, I'll read it to you. It's scared, SHTLESS, podcast@gmail.com. Also, send your fan stories there, guys. I've gotten 2 fan stories so far, and I really want to make a dedicated section of the show to this, but it's something that I'm going to have to get a common stream of these stories coming in, because without having all these stories come in, I can't be doing that. I want to try to keep as much consistency in this podcast as possible, and I don't want to say, well, this week we have a fan story, but this next week we don't. And of course, the fan stories, that's something that is completely and utterly out of my control. I can't make anyone send me anything. I can just hope for the best. But, that's kind of concludes all my rambling. So again, anybody that would be interested in donating, I will leave the link there. Anything is greatly appreciated. Of course, we use it to put towards the podcast, to try to get some nicer equipment. Of course, I've got this microphone I invested in myself, because I'm very serious about bringing you guys good content. So really appreciate everybody for listening, and everybody have a blessed day, and be scared shitless.